Hey there, welcome back to Reddit XO, the best channel for Reddit cheating stories. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification for more stories like these. I caught her cheating and got revenge on Valentine's Day follow-up. The appropriate day to follow through on my decision was Valentine's Day, but I hadn't planned ahead of time because I'd found her cheating the previous week and hadn't thought to make dinner reservations and a place. With the help of a fellow Redditor, I was able to secure a reservation for us at a fairly beautiful restaurant near the lake. I live in Austin. I told my girlfriend that I'd come over to her apartment before we went out and prepare her some while she got ready for the night. She agreed. All of her belongings from my own apartment, including the costly face cream she keeps. And yes, I jerked her off into it so she'll be wearing my facial every day for months, which was an idea inspired by one of the comments here, had already been packed. I gathered all of her belongings into a travel bag and drove over to her residence. I walked into the building, leaving my stuff in the car. She fetched some glasses and bottles of liquor for me to use in making drinks, and then she hopped into the shower. In the meantime, I went to her room and got the suitcase out of my car, which I placed in her closet. I also hid a 3-pack of condoms in the suitcase, but only 2 rubber condoms were left in there. She'll most likely find them and believe I left them there by accident, leading her to believe I cheated on her. After all, we both lost our virginity to each other and never used condoms. During this time, she was still in the shower, so I took her cell phone and erased myself from the contacts list. I also looked up Theo in her contacts and changed his phone number to mine, in case she needed to call me back. Later, I poured vodka into an old-fashioned glass and spat into it many times. I sipped on a large shot of vodka while I waited for her, and after she was clothed, we began to enjoy our because she appeared to be in great shape. I convinced her to give me some oral as a warm-up for tonight's performance. A large number of comments suggested that I should tap it one more time, and I agreed. I accidentally made her laugh a couple of times in the same location where I'd seen her blowing the other guy's horn earlier. When I was finished, I informed her that my car was performing strangely and that we should instead use hers. I was the one who drove us to the restaurant. For the most part, everything about the day had been planned perfectly up until this point. We had dinner and wine, and I went out of my way to make everything appear normal, ensuring that she had the best Valentine's Day supper for her husband. We chatted about trips we'd taken together and how we'd like to go back to them. I brought up old memories and made her laugh, and she seemed to like it. When I asked her where she hoped to be in 5 years, she said that she hoped to be married by then. It was difficult at times, but I was determined to see it through to the end. We had finished eating, so I excused myself to use the restroom to wash my hands before continuing. From there, I dialed my best friend's phone number and instructed him to pick me up in 30 minutes. That was the maximum amount of time I was ever going to give the callous jerk again. We agreed to go for a walk along the lake once I emerged from the restroom and paid the bill. Give me some credit for still acting like an old gentleman. Thank you very much to the Redditor again, because this turned out to be absolutely amazing. The two of us were standing on a small dock nearby, and although my hands were shaking, I was able to call her out at last. I inquired as to if she had anything she wanted to share with me. She appeared to be perplexed and managed to pull it off admirably. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would have taken her word for it. I allowed her to deceive me and then informed her that I was aware of Theo's existence, that she had unintentionally contacted me, and that I had witnessed them around. I informed her that I had discovered him on Facebook and had seen his boastful postings. While I was explaining this to her, she burst into tears, and I have to admit that I was crying a little too. But I persisted and told her how badly she had injured me, as well as how I had been vomiting up and feeling unwell all week as a result of it. During the entire conversation, she said nothing but "I'm sorry." She was crying and almost hyperventilating throughout the entire conversation. She would try to cut me off, but I would tell her to wait until I was finished. I wasn't sure if I was going to go through with this portion of the plan, but I figured I had nothing to lose, so I went ahead and did it. Then I told her that I truly believed she was the girl I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, which was true, and I took a jewelry ring box from my coat and placed it in front of her. I'd purchased it the day before for approximately $15 at the same gas station where I'd purchased the condoms. My partner asked why I hadn't opened the box because the ring appeared to be of poor quality. I explained to her that I'd owned it for a while but wasn't planning to use it anymore. I hurled the box into the water, and because I had tears in my eyes, it appeared to be completely realistic. She hadn't stopped crying the entire time, and she was yanking at my shirt, pleading with me to listen to her and let her speak over and over again, until I finally gave in. No other way to put it. She was having a complete meltdown, and I felt it was the best moment to walk away from the situation. I told her that there was nothing to talk about and that there was nothing she could say, that I didn't want to see her or talk to her again. Her belongings were in a bag in her closet, and she was asked to have a friend come fetch them if she had any further belongings left behind. I also remarked to her that I'd observed a lump on me and that I'd been to the doctor this week, and she agreed that she should do so as well. My intention was to make it plain that this would be the last time we would ever speak to each other, and I then returned the keys to her car and said goodbye. When she tried to hug me, she started saying forgive me, but I told her she was wrong and she backed off. I walked away and left her at the dock where she was. My friend was waiting outside the restaurant, so I jumped in the car with him and drove back to her house to pick up my car, which had been left there. While we were driving, I completed the last half of my strategy by sending her a text message, which she would mistake for being from Theo because I had switched phone numbers. It stated, the document claimed. It stated, what the hell? Your guy sent me an email and knows about us. I don't want any more drama, so please do not phone or text me again. Seriously. She has yet to respond to my letter. Yep, she'll eventually be able to put my faith in her again. Even if I can eventually trust her again, our major concern was creating a family, and I don't feel I can trust her enough in the time we have left to accomplish that goal with the resources we have available to us. Her biological clock is ticking away the minutes till she passes away. While nothing would make me happier than to be able to recover the happiness we had before our lives were broken, there is nothing that can be done to turn the clock back. Nothing can undo the damage that has been done. I came to the realization that no one, including myself, is perfect. But am I merely putting myself in a position to cause myself more sorrow in the future? What am I supposed to do? Edit. Yes, I was intentionally ambiguous about a number of factors, including my age, in order to protect my privacy. No, I was not a hunter in any way. We were both colleagues and friends at the same time. She was 20 years old, and I was 27 years old at the time. She was a few years younger than I was, to be sure. However, we were close friends who had just gone through a difficult split. We started talking and bonding with one another, and things developed from there. Also, yes, it took us more than a year to get back on our feet after the accident. The idea of having a child has been on our minds for a number of years. Story 2. Divorced my ex-wife when I caught her cheating, and she remarried a year later. So I have 2 children, and because of the way I discovered her cheating, I was awarded joint custody with my ex-wife. I like paying visits to my children and spending time with them. They are by far the most pleasurable component of my whole life. My ex-wife cheated on me because she knew I was a musician, and she took advantage of the situation. I followed through on every dream she had. We bought a house before I had enough money for a down payment because she wanted it. I was determined to see her dreams come true. She told me that my dreams were okay and that I should pursue them. However, as time went on and we had 2 children, she started to act oddly about our marriage, which began around 3 years after we were married. Another man is now addressed as father by my children a year after the first. Every time it happens, it makes me feel physically sick. My ex-wife was having a full-fledged affair with another man, without the use of condoms or any other kind of protection, and then coming home and acting as if nothing had taken place. She's a complete and total jerk. Is it possible for you to look after the kids tonight? I'm going on a girls' night out with my girlfriends. I didn't even bother to attempt to make things right, and it's been weighing heavy on my mind lately. Great, now I can get out of this mess and live the life I want, a part of me thought, but I still have to account to her for her foolishness, which I find frustrating. And I loathe the fact that I continue to be infatuated with her. Take nothing I say about wanting her back or being in love with her as seriously as you can. But I was with her from the time I was 15 until I was 32, and we were married for 6 years throughout that time. We were a 2-person family. She had only just ceased to see me as a legitimate authority figure. I stopped taking her and stood up for myself, and she responded by cheating on me. She took our belongings and threw them out the window. What's worse, what's the aim of it all? When she realized what she'd done, she shrugged. After you figured it out, I'll go back to belittling you and criticizing everything you do. What had I done wrong that I wasn't good enough? I was honest, I paid my bills on time, and I always got the idea that she couldn't care less about my well-being. She just wanted to use me as a stepping stone until she could find a new man to monkey branch to, which was hurtful. I've been told by my children that she and their new father never argue, and that everything is wonderful between them. I'm being eaten alive on the inside by it every day, and I can't help but smile when I think about it. In addition, I must maintain good conduct. On a daily basis, I can't show my children how devastated I am. On a weekly basis, I can't express my feelings to her, and her new husband has no idea what happened during our marriage. Perhaps this is the anguish that will accompany me for the rest of my life, at least until I reach old age. I don't believe this will ever be without some level of discomfort. I'm not sure I'll ever be able to put my faith in another woman again. I'm not sure whether I really want to go through with it. Thanks.